Hi, this is Anya Imagination. One of the things that I absolutely love is when I go on one of my rants and then I see something and it really, really simplifies or summarizes what my big problem is. And I went on to this massive spiel with a friend of mine, and today he just sent me an article. Let me go ahead and grab the article and I'll post it down below. It's called The Rise of Emergentsia, and it's basically a philosophical movement which is what I do. In summary, it's what I do. It's Emergentsia. It's where philosophers are standing up and using logic to make sense of the illogic. That's what it is. And what we're doing is, let me drop this article down below. So if you want to see it, you can do that. So it's there, what is emerging. So what's going on is basically we need to understand. This is at the core of all comprehension, is we have to understand. If you don't understand, that's where insanity comes from. It's a lack of comprehension. It's a lack of understanding. It is a lack of being able to make sense of things. And it's contingent upon three primary pillars. Let me go ahead and write these pillars down for you. So the core of comprehension is as follow. It is basically you understanding the situation. The next thing that you need to understand is the name of the situation. And then the other thing is the summation, not the summation. It's basically, well, to be honest with you, it's math. That's really what this is. It's math. But I'm trying to figure out the components of it because it's you understanding the situation, the naming of the situation, and your relativity to the situation. So this is basic comprehension. And in order to get this, you require words, you require logic, and these things make up math. You are actually building. Now, if you cannot do this, then you have a math problem. And that's it. You have a math problem. This is a math problem. And it literally leads to mental illness. It's a breakdown of comprehension. It causes a lot of problems. And word, linguistics, logic, and math is at the crux of all of this. And it's going to continue until and unless you become educated in linguistics, logic, and math. It's the only way to clear it up. It's the only way I cleared up my mental illness. When I went through my mental illness, this is all I did was, well, I had logic, I had linguistics. I just needed math. But the problem with mathematics, there's no problem with mathematics. There's a problem with the teachers of mathematics. And basically what they did is when they were told to simplify mathematics, which they didn't even understand, what they ended up doing was they cut out the core four pieces of what is this, Liz? They ended up cutting out the first four components of the sequence. And when they did that, Quirinus was a war god, said to be no other than Romulus, the founder of Rome, exalted after his death to a place among the gods. He was a brother killer. Thank you, Liz. So anyway, hate Romulus, fucking asshole. It's like, let's put him on a pedestal. He's Cain. Since when do we glorify Cain? All right. Anyway, so when they were told to simplify mathematics or condense the material, they decided to cut out the primary core gut of mathematics. And what we are given basically when we are given a problem is there is the theory of a problem, there is an example of a problem, and there is the definition of a problem. I'm going to be writing that down in the definition or in the description of this video below. The three parts of learning are the theory, and the theory is actually the why. It's the why and order of operations. The next thing, it's the why. It's really the why. The next thing you're going to get is the example. And, well, you're also going to get the definition. So you're going to get the definition, which is the what. And then you're going to get you're going to get the theory, the why, you're going to get the definition, which is the what, and then you're going to get an example. Now, that is not at all what is taking place in mathematics. What you get in mathematics is just the example. So they have literally removed the why and the what out of mathematics. Now, the why and the what are literally, so the why and the what are removed in elementary mathematics. But the why, this is great, and the what is math, specifically algebra, which is why I say they took the math out of math. Literally. They literally removed the algebra out of mathematics when they removed the why and the what. So all you get whenever you get mathematics is, here's the example. You're given no definition. You're given no explanation. You're given nothing. You're just, here's the example, and then they do the example. And you copy the example over and over until you've memorized the order of operations, but there's no what and there's no why. But the what and the why is the math. So they're teaching math without implementing mathematics. Now, because of that, there's a complete breakdown of comprehension going on. Now, prior to that, because all mathematics is sequential, everything is sequential, because of that, they also have removed, and this is it, all logic is sequential. Like all the logic is sequential. Logic is sequential. Logic is the science and implementation of sequence. That is what math is. Or I'm sorry, that is what logic is. Now, that being said, all learning is sequential. Thus, God, I love logic. Thus, all learning is logic. Now, the sequence of learning is, I'm not going to go into it because, basically you get to the reading, writing, arithmetic, which is stage 3 of learning. And then you have theater stage, linguistics, theater stage poetry, linguistics, logic, and then math. So everything from literally arithmetic up to math has been removed. And that's the problem. So now you have, and by the way, that is literally the science of comprehension. So the science of comprehension has been gutted out of your educational system. Because of that, you're not able to form sentences, make connections, use words properly, build logical statements or sequence, identify equations, build formulas or algorithms, or even identify pattern recognition or sequence. Now you can't learn or understand. So when that starts to break down, the next problem you have is the linguists who did not take the right mathematical programming. They did not take the mathematical classes that they needed, nor did they take logic, so they could not actually do the sequence or apply science to their own study of linguistics. So then you ended up with linguists who couldn't even do math and science in their own science, which is language. And as a result, that ended up fusing a lot of misinformation out there. That information got out, and that broke down our understanding of language even further. Now you've got people without any comprehension of math, sequence, logic, or language, and now they're making up their own words without any of the science, which is going on for 200 years. As that breaks down even more, now you can start to see how society is just collapsing because people cannot understand. Now, instead of realizing this is a language comprehension problem because linguistics, language, logic, math has all been removed out of the system, it's then filled in with people saying, oh, you got a learning disorder. You do not have a learning disorder. You have your teacher had a teaching disorder. Big difference, completely big difference. And then you got people who now doubt their ability to understand. So these are basically, I should do a thing where all I do is write all the logical fallacies of our society. Because once you understand all the logical fallacies, you can go through and, oh, that's logical fallacy A, that's logical fallacy B, that's logical fallacy C. And you can see all the logical fallacies of our culture. Now, once you start implementing logic, it literally undoes and corrects all of it, which is what I did when I healed. So as I healed, I literally located and identified all of the logical fallacies. And then I was able to go, oh, I understand, which is where it revolves around the four assholes. So as soon as I realized that it revolved around the four assholes and I was able to plug it in and make that correction, I was able to get my comprehension back. And then I was able to correct and upgrade my communications, my speech. I was able to correct and identify the false identifications that I had, or the false definitions. I started to study vocabulary and definition. As I did that, I was able to articulate myself more clearly. Now, the more I did that, the more the stigma went away, the class system went away, all of it went away. Suddenly there were no barriers. It was like, oh, I was able to communicate and converse with anybody. And this is where I started to notice the more I spoke, the more these people over here related to me, and the more these people could not understand me. So I was literally moving through the spectrum of evolution and education. And that's when I realized that education is really the divide. You know what? This is going to be my secret club. That's what this is going to be. This is going to be my secret public club. That's right. That's right. This is what I'm going to do. Because this is it. It's my secret club. Welcome to my secret club. This is my secret club. I love it. This is my secret club. I needed this. I needed this. I'm still carving it out, guys. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. And when I get there, I'll be like, all right, I got to figure this shit out. And so I've got my secret club, my secret smart club. That's what this is, my secret smart club. And once you start to realize precisely how everything is and where we're all moving in life, it really changes everything. It really, truly does. And we have to understand. We really, really have to understand. So I'm going to do 100 for the ones. No. God, I hate this I love YouTube, but this is like an annoying thing they do. Okay. And it's literally the science of comprehension. I love it. I love it so much. The science of comprehension is easily one of the most beautiful topics. I could talk about this. Well, look at my books. I could talk about comprehension all day long. I love comprehension. I just love comprehension. And when you have comprehension, when you understand, it's literally the sequence of which thought goes in the right place. There's an order of thoughts that you're supposed to have. And if you do not have the right order of thoughts, you're not going to have comprehension. So where it is, basically there's a hierarchy of, there's a pyramid of comprehension. And the first pyramid of comprehension is going to be the word. The word must be properly defined. Now, after you define the word, you have to understand sentence structure. That's what all those books were for. That was literally word definition and sentence structure. After you get sentence structure, then you have logical progression. The progression is the order, and this is it exactly. This is it. You have word definition, and then you have sentence structure. After sentence structure, you want to make sure that the sentences are in the right order. After they are in the right order, you tell a story. This is the science of story. After you have the story, point A leads to point B, leads to point C, then you end up with, and the story is the comprehension, which is why we need to hear story in order to understand, is because the story is actually giving us the point of origin. It's giving us the body or the journey. And then after that, it's giving us the conclusion, which is the destination. And if we don't have origin, journey, conclusion, we don't understand it. Because what we're doing is we are measuring the origin to the journey to the conclusion to the origin. And now we have relativity. So now once you have relativity, now you have relatability. And there you go. This is comprehension. But if you don't even define the word properly, the whole thing falls down, because this is all sequential. This is logic, which is story, which is the same thing, which is word. So as you dive deep into this and you start pulling it apart and looking at it, it's vital to how you build thought in your brain. You are literally building sequential thought inside of your brain. You're building sequential thought in your brain. So now when you are looking at a logical fallacy or you're looking at a limiting belief, what you're really doing is you're analyzing the sequential thoughts in your mind, and you're analyzing which ones are the placeholders, which ones are the logical fallacies. So you have placeholders, you have opinions, you have logical fallacies, and then you have gaps. And That's it. You have gaps, placeholders, opinions, and logical fallacies. Those are the 4 kinds of problems that you can have in your mind. Now, if any of these 4 things are incorrect, and they all are incorrect, the only one of these 3 things that has a possibility of being correct is the placeholder. The placeholder is questionable. Now, the gap, you've got missing logic. You're not going to be okay. The opinions, if it were a fact, it'd be called a fact. If it were truth, it'd be called truth. The fact that it's not called fact or truth means it's an opinion, which means it literally is not true. An opinion cannot be true. If it were, it would be a fact and it would be truth. Fact versus opinion. You'll learn it in 1st grade. Yes. If you have an opinion, by default, you don't have fact, which means you're wrong. Which is why opinions are stupid. So there is no such thing as a true opinion. If it were a true opinion, it would be a fact and truth. Which is why it's like, hi, I've got an opinion. You mean you're a dumbass because you've got a false lie in you and you're too stupid to learn what the truth is. Got it. And you're bragging about that. Like dumb. So if it's, like I said, facts and opinions. If you got fact and if you've got belief, or I'm sorry, if you got fact and if you've got truth, then why don't you have fact and truth? And if you can't prove it with fact and truth, then you've got something that's wrong, clearly. And the word believe means be in love, and love is truth. That's a whole logical thing, and it's really complex, and it's on my website if you really want to know how that works. But love is truth. Oh my God, is it? So, holy shit. So this concept of, will I believe, you really need to look up the etymology of the word believe, but okay. So logical fallacy is an absolute, this is incorrect. And then you've got lie, which is also logical fallacy because lie is the opposite of truth. So opinions are also lies because truth is the opposite of lie and opinion is the opposite of truth. Therefore, opinions are lies. And then you've got gaps, which is literally just no data, literally no data. Of all of these, the no data is the most honorable because if you have no data, that's usually an I don't know, I need to go learn. Now, a placeholder is what I call an hypothesis. Now, if the hypothesis is wrong, okay, you need to go fix the hypothesis, which is why it's called an hypothesis. But a placeholder is when you take something and you put it in place of until you know the answer. But if you've got a placeholder, you should be working your ass off to learn. We're, again, back to that. So you've got gaps, opinions, logical fallacy, placeholder. Those are the only options you got here. 4 things. You fuck up your building of the sequential thought, and you're not going to understand. Now, there's going to be sequences and levels of how much you do or don't understand. If you have 10% logical fallacy, you're going to be 10% mentally fucked up. If you have 90% logical fallacy, you're going to be 90% logically fucked up. You're going to have 90% mental illness. So the more you clean out and purge your mental illness or your logical fallacy, the more mental illness is going to go away because your comprehension is going to increase. So your comprehension is literally relative to your mental illness. So if you're not doing okay, it's because you have logical fallacy in your building of sequential thought. And when you are addressing limiting beliefs, what you are really doing is sorting out your gaps, your opinions, and your logical fallacies. But if you're clinging to your opinions, game over. You're not actually serious about getting healthy. So this is all where comprehension builds off of. This is why linguistics is so fucking vital to the whole process. And if we don't understand the insanity that is Wonderland, then we can't solve it. We can't do anything about it. And that's where a lot of people are trying to do logic without logic. And that's why they're all arguing and talking online, is because they're all literally trying to figure out the illogic and the insanity of having no logic or sanity, which is why I've got my 4 assholes. Having the 4 assholes categorized is like, all right, I just sent out my newsletter. I feel so much better, so much better. Like, okay. And I have something called the satirical tragedy of Wonderland, making sense of nonsense. And it's the satirical part at the end that allows me to just completely unleash this nonsense. It's so funny because as soon as I sent this, my friend sent that over to me. The satirical tragedy of Wonderland, making sense of nonsense. So this is what I wrote. What kind of asshole are you? The players, the 4 types of assholes. There's the conformist, the Lord Farquaad, who's so uneducated about what is right and wrong that they play it safe by living back against the wall and avoiding fear and extremist white thinking. They often fight back against the eggshell walker police. They refuse to cater to the unrealistic demands of the eggshell walker police. They need to explore with the shadow self and learn that debaucherous does not at all mean unethical. They need to learn how to set boundaries and define their own personal laws for self-control. The next one is the eggshell walker police. Often confusing nice with doormat, polite with irresponsible, and self-esteem with arrogance, they are governed by their insecurity. They thrive on the pride of their uneducated and ignorant opinions as they practice any variation of, you have to be positive no matter what, or anger is a sign of mental illness, and or you're responsible for my feelings because I have decided to socialize instead of doing the work I need to do to self-regulate. They pride themselves on their empath skill, which is really a subgenre of PTSD due to emotional irregularity. At first, they appear to be happy and healthy, which attracts unsuspecting friends to them until the friends realize that the eggshell walker clings to the chakra stone for life support. The only opinion that is tolerated is that of the eggshell walker. And when you speak truth, they will remind you not to be intolerant of opinions while being intolerant of yours. They need to use their social pang as an indicator to what they need to work on and how much work they have to do. They should not be socializing at all. They need to learn how to set boundaries and define their own personal laws for self-control. The raping teacher, aka the pot stirrer, is the underqualified, arrogant, ignorant, opinionated, ego-infested, refusal to learn, self-imposed teacher who becomes angry and aggressive if you refuse to be their student. They become hostile at teaching standards that they don't meet and accuse their unwilling student of arrogance and closed-mindedness for refusing their lesson. They need to learn humility and embrace the humble role of student. They need to abandon their upper hand podium that puts them above all others. The raping teacher and the eggshell walker police often merge into a hybrid that gets angry at anyone who is intolerant of opinion and illogic while forcing their lessons onto others. The ethical asshole, the salty bitch. The ethical asshole is intolerant of opinion and illogic. Eggshell walking and underqualified raping teachers who actually make the old school conformist look like a walk in the park. They live for truth and logic, and they require evidence or default to hypothesis as a placeholder while they learn and grow. They need to work on letting it go and moving on from the insanity of Wonderland. They need to learn how to set boundaries and define their own personal laws of self-control. Yes, I'm working on it. A good practice in this is to write newsletters and satirical columns like this one to help them make sense of the nonsense while sporadically vlogging about this on YouTube. Knowing what kind of asshole you are is vital to knowing what work you have to do in your life. So, knowing your asshole, this could be a thing. Knowing your asshole is really vital to knowing how much growing you have to do. It's being realistic about it. And if you're one of those persons who you read all 4 of them and you're going, I'm telling you right now, you're probably a conformist or you are probably a raping teacher. The raping teacher is going to deny that they even fit into any of those categories. And the conformist will also deny it. The conformist might be more open-minded, but if you are in total denial of everything on that list, dude, you're first of all, you are probably most likely not at all on my podcast. But if by any chance you've stopped by, I'm telling you right now, you're a raping teacher. Absolutely. So I love word aversion people. Word aversion people are like my favorite people in the world. Not really. I fucking hate them. But word aversion people are the people who, when you say the word, they get hostile and angry at you. And we are in a very angry and hostile world right now. And that's because society broke down and there's no more civilization. Like, we are Lord of the Flies right now, people. It's Lord of the Flies out there. And it's a, how do you survive your Lord of the Flies? It's your Lord of the Flies survival kit. This might be a thing. Lord of the Flies survival kit. Your Lord of the Flies survival kit. That's what I've built. The Lord of the Flies survival kit. That's actually my nonprofit societal solution plan, which is on my website if you want to grab a hold of it. Is it? Yeah, I mean, it's on my website, definitely. Let me take a look and see if the link is below. And this is, let me see here. Oh yeah, there it is. The online course for accelerated healing and self-betterment. All right, let me go ahead and those online courses, it's on the video description below. That is the nonprofit political movement for your societal plugin. And it is literally your Lord of the Flies survival kit. I'm going to call it that, your Lord of the Flies survival kit. Yeah, I love that. Your Lord of the Flies survival kit. Your Lord of the Flies. I could call it that for the rest of my life. It's the Lord of the Flies survival kit. There you go. And so it's on the link below. Look in the video description. And Lord of the Flies survival kit really summarizes everything. It's how to implement this. It's how to get the logical corrections that you need in your brain for comprehension. It's your ability to step out of whatever shithole you're in so you can unlord of the flies your life. And yeah, I absolutely love the Lord of the Flies survival kit. I'm probably going to be talking a lot about that for the rest of my life. I love so much about the Lord of the Flies survival kit. Like so much that I'm pulling up an index card, and that's going to be like a reminder. Anna, you need to talk about the Lord of the Flies survival kit. Oh my God, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a thing. Your Lord of the Flies survival kit. So it is a fucking crazy, insane world out there. And where I'm at right now is I'm in my secret space, my secret space for smart people. It's my secret space for smart people, my secret smart space. So yeah, it's, I need to go write my books now. I need to go write my books. I just need to write. And getting back into the writing, when I get into the zone, oh, I'm there. I am like, I crank out about 10,000 words a day. And then when I'm not in the zone, it's finding that finding what I want to talk about or what I want to write about. And I'm in the process of writing The Salmon of Knowledge. I have 4 books out right now on Amazon under my pen name. And let me go ahead and grab the link for that, and it'll be down below in the video description. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and if you take a look at my Linktree account, you can see all my books. But it's really, yeah, this is it right here. It's really a massive step back of being able to define the nonsense. And I feel like I'm like at the very end of summarizing the bullshit that's outside. And I know what it is when I understand and I start walking through the slodge of Lord of the Flies, and you get to that point where you confront somebody and you're like, you want to immediately figure out the situation. Like, what is the fast diagnosis of the situation? And it's okay, this is somebody who's either a conformist, they are somebody who is either in this category or they in this category. And as soon as you can label, categorize, and understand, it's okay, where do I want to keep them in my thing here? And I know what this is I've been for so long among the eggshell walkers that I was suffocating. I could not fucking breathe. I was watching every little fucking word I said. And it was about 2 days ago. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I noticed every time I stepped away from his expectations of he had this world of eggshell walking. And as soon as I started to enter into that world, I started to feel my guard go up. So I would leave him a voice message and I would subconsciously be thinking, oh my God, should you saying this to him? And I saw myself filtering, and that's when I got pissed. I'm like, okay, now I'm filtering myself. Now I'm censoring. Oh, I don't do that shit. I don't filter. I don't censor, because I was censored and I filtered so much that I ended up, and this is it's not a reflection of me. I wasn't being an asshole. I just didn't want to hear his reprimands. I didn't want to hear him scolding me. And I'm going, why am I watching what I'm saying around you, not to protect his feelings, but to prevent me from being disciplined or scolded by him? And that was it right there. It was not empathetic of, is this going to hurt his feelings? It was like, and this is it right here. It was after we went back and forth on something, and I started off my video. I had said very, very clearly in the beginning of this video, I'm going to talk to you like I'm an outsider, and I'm just going to show you what it's like on my side of it. And I just told him exactly how I view the world from my point of view as an outsider, somebody who was raised outside of the system. And it was the first time I was truly completely naked with him, in the sense of, this is what it's like for me being on the outside. And when it was all done and said, he was offended, and he was telling me what I needed to say in place of, like, you need to say this instead of this. And he was policing me, telling me what words I should have used. And I was in a space where I was not at all, like, in fact, I had just spent 3 videos prior to that telling him, tiptoeing, like being gentle, being empathetic. And I realized that I was so empathetic, true empathy, that I was censoring myself, that I wasn't even communicating. And I realized if I'm going to be understood, I'm going to have to just speak freely. So I wanted permission to speak freely. So I told him in the very beginning of the video, look, I'm going to open up and just speak freely to you. And this is what it's like for me. So I came to him very much as this is what it's like being an outsider of this culture. So I gave him an example of the outsider of the culture. And yes, for me, it's very much, you've got these Neanderthals who diagnose the geniuses, and the geniuses grow up thinking there's something wrong with them because they've got the labels, but not the idiots. And then you find out that, oh, there's nothing ever wrong with me, but you still got the label. And the whole thing revolved around, why are you using the language if you don't think there's anything wrong with you? And that was it right there, is why are you using their language? So the Neanderthals have this labeling language, like ADHD, like neurodivergent. That's outlander language. And I'm going, either you're an insider or an outsider. And this is the best example. I love this example. And I said, for me, it's like there's humans and then there's Martians. Now, the Martians are going to have words that describe what it's like to be a Martian. And then the man is going to have words that describe what it's like to be a man. But the man also made a whole bunch of words over here on what it's like to be a Martian. How fucking dare they? And that's what I see our society doing a lot of, where you've got the genius and then you've got the Neanderthal. And the Neanderthal has invented this entire language to describe the genius. But these are not the words of the genius. These are the words of the Neanderthal. And the genius is using the words invented by another culture that has no fucking business. It's like, those aren't my words. Those are your words describing me. Those are your labels. A name is an insider by the insider for the insider. A label is an outsider for the insider by the outsider. That's the difference. And I said, this is one of those things with your culture that I don't understand as an outsider, is why would the insider of this group allow other people to name them? Why, if you're going to oppose them, would you ever allow them to use, why would you continue to use their names? I don't use any of their names or labels for me because they're not mine. They're not in my shoes to label me. And people are sitting there going, don't label me. And then they'll turn around and use the language by the labelers. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? So this is one of those things that to me just didn't make sense. And when it was all over and done with, he came back and he gave me instruction on how to talk to him and how to, not even to him, but to people. He decided to give me a lesson on how to talk to people. And I wasn't looking for that lesson. I don't need instruction on how to talk to people. Either the people who are my people know how to talk to me and they love how I talk. And that's all there is to it. If you don't have a problem with the way I talk, you should not be around me. And if I have a problem with the way you talk, I should not be around you. It's simple. It's very simple. And this is where the eggshell walker is like, let's all get together, but we're going to follow my rules. No, it doesn't work that way. You don't get to imply rules on me. And this is, again, 2 videos of me being empathetic. One video where I was really strongly censoring myself to the sacrifice of being comprehended, of being understood. And I won't do that ever. I'm like, no, the moment I can't even be understood, no, empathy needs to go out the window. Censoring needs to go out the window, because the majority, what matters is comprehension. That is what matters. Never sacrifice censorship for comprehension. Ooh, that's good. I'm going to write that down. Never sacrifice. Yeah, I'm going to write this down. This is going to be big. Never sacrifice your comprehension for censorship. The minute you do this, the moment you do this, you lose society and the self. Specifically, you lose civilization. You lose civilization. And this is the problem. This was huge. When I noticed this in me, I was like, no. That's the first sign that you need to absolutely uncensor, speak freely. So I gave him a disclaimer. And then I spoke freely. And I just reported on, this is what it looks like from my culture. And then he came back with, now I'm going to non-consensually give you a lesson on how to talk to people. And I'm like, I was in a vulnerable space with you. I opened up and was showing you what it's like to be in my space after I gave you a disclaimer, after I was censoring myself, and after I did 2 videos of being empathetic toward you. And you still violated my vulnerable space by telling me that I needed to respect how to talk to people. And that was really the end of it. That right there was it. I think, no, that was it. When I walked away from that, it changed the friendship. It absolutely changed the friendship. It completely. It was like understood. And that's when I realized that he's very much one of those persons who is happy all the time, has to come. And I'm just like, no. And that's when I realized when he wanted to, and I could see it now, that immediately I realized he only wanted to hear my opinion when he wanted a solution solved. That's when I started to see it. And I was like, ah. And that was it, really. That was it. It was, but this is exactly right here. The beautiful dissection of this is, it's hypocrisy. That's what this is. It's the hypocrisy. And the other word is vaunting. That's another beautiful word that we really need to get into the use of doing. There's one other word that I was using the other day. It was really, really important. It wasn't just vaunting. It was something else. What was it? Oh, what was it? I found it. It was a very old word. And I was like, oh, that's it. God damn it. Shit. Vaunting. Vaunting is a word that means it's empty. It's, I'm going to sit there and blast out what I am. It's basically what people think arrogance is. And vaunting stopped being used and arrogance got in replace of it. And it's not that at all. Vaunting is when you claim to be something you're not. It's when you boost your credentials when you in fact don't have them. It's empty words. That's vaunting. And there were three elements here, 3 words that I noticed were absent in our culture. And once I found them, I was like, wow, that's it exactly. Let me go ahead and see. I believe I know it is. I know it's on my hubris. It's hubris. That's the word. It is hubris. So the word hubris, I'm going to go ahead and look this up right now because this one is vital. It's an archaic word, hubris. Definition. Etymology. Is conceit. It's conceit. It is excessive, excessive pride. Excessive pride. And the word excessive is vital there. It's the excessive pride. And then vaunting is empty boast. Empty boast. It means you're boasting something that isn't true. And then you have hypocrisy. So hypocrisy, vaunting, hubris. Those 3 words are like the narcissist platter. Yes. Hubris, vaunting, and hypocrisy. And trying to explain a narcissist is, and that's it right there. It's the hubris, it's the vaunting, it's the hypocrisy. And that's it. So when I discovered the words vaunting and hubris recently, I was like, oh my God, that's what I need. Like it was really beautifully well said. And then when you combine it with, there was this massive movement of, people trying to figure out narcissists. And what's funny is narcissism has died down. Narcissists are no longer trending. Have you noticed? Narcissism is no longer trending. And as that died down, now it's just this conformist woke where, and I hate the word woke. It doesn't make sense to me because no one can agree on the definition. When I did the etymological research, it was basically a marketing campaign for Black people to draw attention to their message, which was beautiful. It's like, okay, good for you. But then the Valley Girls got a hold of it because it was trending and they decided to use it. And then the conformists got a hold of it and they mocked the whole movement. So because of the Valley Girl shit, the whole thing just fell apart. And then we saw this again with, what is that show called? There was one show. It was a Handmaiden's Tale. Handmaiden's Tale gets out there, and it was for a very specific movement or very specific message. Valley Girl got their hands on it, and then the white conformists immediately slandered it and mocked it. And same thing with social justice. You have social justice. Hey, let's make this a message. And then you've got the trendy bullshitters immediately going all over nuts. And then the conform, and it's the same pattern. 3 data points. So I was able to analyze it, and I went, okay, I'm seeing a trend. I'm seeing a thing. So basically, somebody is trying to do a marketing message. The Valley Girls get a hold of it and immediately turn it into a popular trend, and they're too stupid to realize what the message really is. And the conformists mock them. Between the conformist and the Valley Girl, the eggshell walker groups, the two of them tear down the actual message and the purity of what's trying to be said. And this cycle is just over and over again. And it's like, really? Really? And it's amazing. It's amazing. First, the complete devaluing of this beautiful message by these dipshit trends. And then the slander and the hypocrisy or the mockery of the conformists. And every goddamn time a movement stands up to say, we need societal change, it goes through this pattern. And now it's just like this whirlpool of shit. Literally, it's a whirlpool of shit that just every goddamn time somebody stands up to have a message, the trending Valley Girl bullshit ruins it and completely devalues it. And the conformist stands up and mocks it. And so I don't like the word woke because it's one more trend that just went down the shit toilet. So I hate doing the whole talking thing. I really hate doing the whole talking thing with the let's talk about this. But and this is it really, is when you do the talk thing, you're supposed to be, you're supposed to have a purpose. Every time you talk, see, logicians know this. Every time you talk about a problem, what you're supposed to be doing is defining it, naming it, summarizing it. You're actually supposed to summarize it first. So you define, summarize, name. Those are the 3 steps. This is language. This is linguistics. So you define, summarize, name. Every time, define, summarize, name. After you define, summarize, name, which is what we did with the 4 assholes, that was the summation. And we were able to summarize it and tighten that up even more. So define, summarize, name. What? What, hon? Say again? That's how you do notes. That's how everyone does notes. That's instinct happening. That's intuition. That is literally called logical intuition. That's what this is. It's logical intuition. And the problem is because people are so illogical, they can't even do this anymore. So they're just talking without understanding that there's supposed to be a formula that they're supposed to be intuitively following called intuitive logic. So you are supposed to be defining, summarize, and then naming. And you're supposed to get it down into one word. One word. You're supposed to simplify it. This is the simplification process. And then after it, now you're ready to build the equation. But no one was ever taught how to build the equation, which is why you got all these think tanks and no one knows what to do with them. Think tanks, everyone's defining, but you don't know how to summarize. You don't know how to simplify into one word, and you don't know how to build an equation. So now everyone's like, all right, so equation building. Equation building is this. Basically what you're doing is you are now sorting. And you need to do this multiple times. You need 3 common denominators. 4, but 3. You need 3. 4, but you need 3. 4. And what you're doing is you're looking for the common denominators, because the common denominators are your truths and your constants. You're looking for the truth, which is the constant. So you got these 4 assholes. What's the common denominator? Illogic. Lack of civilization. So what's wrong? Lack of civilization. The 5 key points, the foundation of civilization is gone. That's what's going on. What are the 5 key points of civilization? I have it right here. The 5 key points of civilization are in my notes. Give me a minute. The 5 key notes of civilization are logic, order, comprehension, knowledge, truth, ethics. Again, logic and order, comprehension, knowledge, truth, and ethics. And that is absolutely the five keynotes of civilization. So civilization has broken down. So this isn't going through the process. That's why everyone's talking and nothing's getting done. So once people talk, you define, you summarize, you name. Now you need the common denominators. What are the common denominators of the four assholes? And the common denominators of the four assholes is no civilization. So how do you restore civilization? Well, that's sociology. So in order to do that, you're going to have to agree on a constant. And the only constant in the world that is the only thing that doesn't change is truth. Now, fortunately, you don't have to agree on truth. Truth just is, which means if you can define truth, you're good. Now you've got your constant. The truth is number one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these five pieces, and this is it right here. These are your five pieces. And what these are is these are now the sequence. These are the components of civilization that's been lost. So now we're going to put them in the right order. This is called sequencing. When you put them in the right order, what you're really doing is you are defining the catalyst from the symptoms. You are literally reverse engineering the chain reaction. That's what you are doing. You are reverse engineering the chain reaction. La da 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 da. So the first thing is going to be truth, because that's the one thing that doesn't change. The catalyst does not change. It's truth. That's why you can trust it. After that, the next thing that follows that is your ability to measure truth, which is logic. Now, in order to do that, you are going to need knowledge, and you cannot separate knowledge and ethics. They are inseparable. That is a fact. Because when you study logic and when you study knowledge and ethics, they're literally symbiotic. They are the same thing. So, and then with this process, you're going to get comprehension. Now, comprehension is actually the conclusion. So you actually have truth, and then you measure the truth with logic. You use knowledge and ethics to amplify and confirm your logic, to rebuild on your truth, and then you grow on that. And then as you do that, you get comprehension. Now, your comprehension is going to give you your point of view and your perspective. Different things, completely different things. So as you, and the more you know, the more ethical you become, and the more you build on that. Now you have the beginning of a civilization again. Now you start amplifying that. Now you start adding to it and building on it, and it keeps going forward. So that's pretty much the restoration of civilization, which we've lost, which is why you've got chaos all over the place. So that's what is wrong with the world today, with the way everyone is screaming, complaining, crying. You've got four assholes. Three of them are just sitting there online arguing. The fourth are not arguing. The fourth do not, which is why they're the anomaly, is because they're looking at it going, yeah, I'm not going to participate in that shit. So I am of the fourth group of the assholes who's looking to restore civilization by not contributing to that nightmare. And what it is that logic, order, comprehension, knowledge, truth, ethics. And because you require that truth of constant, there is, again, there is no agreeing on what the truth is. It's not an opinion. That's idiot talk. And what ends up happening is you end up building that truth into an anchor. And once you have, and this is where read 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. Read Socrates. This is exactly which is why I have the nonprofit organization down in the description below of the Your Lord of the Flies survival kit. I walk you through the entire process of all of this. So you can actually break down, this is what's going on. This is the comprehension. I'm going to be doing and understanding the nonsense of, like, literally it's adding the sense into the nonsense of our society. And this is it right here, is what you are looking at is a lack of civilization. That's all you're looking at. And if you don't understand what you're dealing with, if you don't understand what's going on and why it's breaking down, what you are witnessing, experiencing is literally the end of civilization. We're there, we're in it. The apocalypse is here. What's going to end up happening is people are not going to be able to do simple tasks. That's going to be the next stage. We talk about this. You are going to get into a stage where basic things, people are not going to be going to work. We're going to see that stopping. People are going to stop attending work. People are going to quit their jobs. There's going to be a mass quit. It's literally people just quitting. The communication and the breaking point is, so you're going to see this disintegration of communication. I need to do a whole timeline. I need to do it, really, a whole timeline of what to expect. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add this to, I'm going to go over there and do it right now. I'm going to go over to my course here. La, 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 la. So I'm on the Radical Global Healing Plan Simplified. And I'm just going to go ahead and add these 2 points in here because this is vital to understanding what's going on so you know what to do. La, da, 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 da. Okay. Foundational. Okay, so this is the origin. Okay. So I want to do an introduction. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and build an introduction. That way you guys have relativity. You need it. Introduction for relativity. You're going to need that. That way you know your relativity to what's going on. And this is it right here is what is wrong with the world today? So let me just plug that right in here. Easy peasy. And I'm going to add 3 courses or 3 lessons right here to fill all this in. And this video, I'm going to go ahead and do this right now because this is it right here. La, 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 la. Yes, Liz? What? Oh my God, the cat. All right, let me hop, skip, and a jump. Okay, so I'm going to be, there's that video. And this is literally what the end of civilization. I'm going to call this the end of civilization so that you guys understand what's going on. And this is, we have truth, which you can trust, because it doesn't change. It's the only thing that doesn't change. Logic to measure truth. And then you're going to need knowledge and you're going to need ethics. And I'm going to put these side by side because they are the same thing. And then you're going to have comprehension. And this does equal comprehension. So you have these 3 points here in this order. And then this leads to comprehension. So that's the end of civilization. And then the next one, and I'm going to elaborate on it. The next thing that I want to do is, let me see here. I'm going to enhance on the Lord of the Rings survival kit, or I'm sorry, Lord of the Rings, haha. The Lord of the Flies survival kit. And that's it. I'm going to hit coming soon, and then I'm going to break this down a little bit further. I just said something to you guys, and it was like perfect. It was like, what did I just say? And there was something I was like, I need to break this down for you and show you precisely what it is. Yes, the 4 types of assholes. That's it. You need to know the 4 types of assholes. Now, I'm actually going to pull this from my newsletter because this is great. The satirical tragedy of Wonderland, making sense of nonsense. So I'm just going to copy and paste this right from my newsletter today. And that is going to go right into here. Making sense of nonsense. There we go. Okay. So this is, what kind of asshole are you? There we go. The satirical tragedy of Wonderland, making sense of nonsense. All right. So that's now added. So I pasted that in there so you can see it. And this really allows you to understand what's going on. And that's what I wanted to put in here was why it's so important. This is it. I need to write this down. Why it is so important that you understand what is going on. Like, I cannot explain to you enough why that's so important. Because, and I'm going to say here, because when you know what is wrong, you can understand it and then build the equation to solve it. That's why. Really fucking important. Really, really fucking important. And that's math. I'm going to tell you right now, that is fucking math. That is math on a level, which is not at all what you were taught in school. This is why you need to apply math to your life, which you were not taught to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you look at this course that I built, one of the things that I do cover here is literally called Mathematics Demystified. So it corrects that for you. So while I'm sitting here telling you how shitty your math education was, and it was, I also have a course right in there that is the plugin that uploads the mathematical information that you should have gotten. It literally clarifies all of the insanity of mathematics. When my daughter read it, she went, oh my God, this, and literally all the logic math just cleaned. And then when you sit down, this is what my favorite part now. Whenever I pull up a math book now, I know what they're doing. I'm like, oh, it's just knowing the categories and the groupings, but they don't organize the groupings because the math teachers have no idea what they're doing. And the sequence is completely out of order because the sequence is out of order in the math books and they don't identify the groupings. And that's it. They don't identify the groupings, unidentified groupings, which is like a big math faux pas. And they also remove the sequence. Dumb fucks. Did I say raping teachers? Yeah, unidentified grouping, and they remove the sequence. They took the math out of math. So, which is why you guys have such shit math skills. It's not because you have shit math skills. You had a raping teacher. That's why you had a raping teacher. I know that's not a pleasant thing to say. I'm well aware, but it's fucking true. And the more you understand the truth of what you're dealing with, the more you can actually deal with a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in here. What is wrong with math? And this is what is wrong with math. And it is the unidentified. And there's actually three things going on here, but unidentified grouping is one of them. And then the next one is they removed the sequence. ... which is math. Thus, they took the math out of math. It's not you guys. It is not you at all. It really is not you. Don't ever feel bad that you did not learn. They were that dumb fucking stupid. Unidentified grouping, and they removed the sequence of learning. They removed the order of operations, aka the order of operations. They removed PEMDAS from PEMDAS, the order of operations. That's it right there. So, what is wrong with math? Okay. We talk more on this under mathematics demystified. There you go. So as I find little things, I'm going to add them to this course. Like, this is the core course of all. I've got all these other courses that are supplemental, other pieces where I really saturate and deep into it. And you can customize this course. This course is beautiful. It's so simple. There's going to be, and you can absolutely cultivate it to, you can absolutely customize it to however you need. So there's 3 optionals, and those optionals, I recommend the optionals, but if you feel overwhelmed and you don't want to do that, go ahead and cut them out. However, and there's a disclaimer that if you cut out those 3 optionals, I cannot guarantee the same results with triadic healing. And as you go through it, it's simplified, and it's a very the readings, do everything in the right order of operations. And then for trauma survivors, there's a section there for you. If you have suffered from severe trauma, you're going to need some extra books. That's all there. It's all complete. It's full. And then at the very end, there is get involved. If you're a teacher, if you are a parent, and it breaks it down so you have an understanding of what's going on. Like I said, this is the nonprofit political movement, and it's all done. It's all set. And now I'm closing the book on this, and it's there. I'm not touching it anymore. As I talk on it, as I get angry or I find stuff that I want to talk about, I'll definitely go there. But it's nice to finally shut that, and now I can go back to my books and focus on what I need to write. So one of my biggest problems has been that I don't have any scientific journals that I can write this stuff into because they don't exist. So I'm going to go ahead instead and just publish all my work in literature and books. And I've got my 4 books that are already published. I've got a lot of available books already. And I also have triadic healing condensed into 4 books. And I just have to finish 2 of those 4 books. But over the next few months, all I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be updating my YouTube channel so that I have somebody come in to do the SEO. I'm going to be getting my books cleaned up, published, and that's it. That's a whole lot of it, as I'm going to be doing that. I also have a game coming. I'm working on building a game for, I'm going to be doing a Dungeons and Dragons RPG IRL thing. And that I'm very, very excited about. And I'm also working on another project, and this is the Healing Torch Project. The Healing Torch Project is a group where it's the Radical Global Healing Plan. And that's when I took the Radical Global Healing Plan simplified, and I put it there. And that's when I realized this is just a marketing campaign. This is literally a political marketing campaign, but I don't do electoral shit. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. I don't understand their politics, why they're arguing over who gets to be the leader when they should be fixing problems. I'm going, why the fuck are you, how about if we just fix the problems? So my team fixed the problems and we're done. And we're going to be doing a lot more on the Healing Torch and pulling that together. That's under the Healing Engine. That's the Radical Global Healing Plan. And then we have the marketing campaign, the political marketing campaign to draw awareness to that. So this is going out as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to be focused primarily on my books and getting those out. I feel like this is it. I feel like this is really it. I think my issue was I was done with the Healing Garden as far as getting it set up. And I had everyone telling me to do courses and online material and teaching and coaching. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. I'll do public speaking when they come knocking at my door. I will speak at events. I will do galas and I will do fundraiser events. Oh, yes, I will be doing fundraisers. I will be doing a lot of fundraisers. That I do. I am a philanthropist and I am a humanitarian. That is what I do. That is my work. So it's really a massive, massive relief to just close this part of my book, of this chapter, and walk away from it. And I do have I'm going to call it my satire column. I love that a lot. That really, so that whenever I see some fucking stupid insanity, I am going to just go right into my satirical column. I'm probably going to do not a course, but something online under my courses where just to help me, it's the adventures of Mitchell the Officials and Lester Letchworth with Mrs. Penningroth and the Four Assholes. I love everything about that I just said. And the Four Assholes. I love that. I love everything about that. It's Mitchell Officials. It's Mitchell Officials with Lester Letchworth and Mrs. Penningroth and the Four Assholes. And that's really the summation of our society in the satirical, nonsensical word. It's beautiful. So I think I have organized all of my integrated self, and I found the catalyst, which is my books, that I'm an author. I'm going to say that a lot because it's been a long time since I've said it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm an award-nominated author. I can do this. Yeah, I'm an author. I really need to get that out there. And oh yeah, by the way, I write books. They're really fucking awesome books, but yeah, I write books. So yeah, and then you're going to be my secret club, my public secret club. There's so much about it. I love it. You're my public secret club. I'm going to call it that, my public secret club. Yes, I love that, my public secret club. And it's, yeah, I'm finding myself, I'm figuring this shit out and being able to abandon. So a lot of people were telling me that the YouTube channel was my core catalyst. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's really not. It's more like it's an appendage. It's an appendage. That's what my YouTube, welcome to my appendage. I'm probably going to start every video like that from now. Welcome to my appendage. Yeah, that's it. Welcome to my appendage. So take a look at the links below. Grab whatever you need for yourself. Share, love, la, la, la. And we have a lot more coming. But I'm going to go ahead and we're definitely going to be doing a franchise. The franchise is going to be a parenting and an adulting school. Yes, that's coming in 2025. That is something that we are absolutely ferociously going to be pursuing. That is something I'm very, very excited about, is the franchise coming in 2025 for the parenting and the adulting school. But for now, absolutely. And it's going to be pretty much the DIY Radical Global Healing Plan simplified. It's basically going to be that, but with walkthroughs and games and awesome shit. And we're going to have like adult kindergarten rooms. It's going to be fun. So that's a lot of stuff that we're looking at for 2025. Yeah, I feel like my brain is starting to get where it needs to go. It took a long time to get here. I had to get through the other 3 assholes to get to this stage of being an asshole. So thank you for being an asshole with me. And may the truth always find you.